Hello everyone, welcome to the end of the month garden collaboration. I'm Lisa Ann Spencer. Thank you for stopping by. It's June 30th and I just realized that I need to be making a garden video before the month ends, end of June. So I'm just going to jump right in there. I came out here to do a little bit of work. It has been so hot and I just pour sweat, and I thought to myself I might like to do this video yesterday, Sunday, go to church and have some makeup on and not look so ragged. But anyway, here I am looking ragged again. Anyway, I'm going to make this kind of quick because it's pretty hot. You'll be amazed at how much the garden has grown, and I'm just going to turn the camera around and chat as I walk through the garden. Okay, here we go. Same old with the potted plants. I've got some potatoes that they were extra and I just threw in pots. They were actually ready to be harvested. I've got a couple of those. I'm just going to dump them in my wheelbarrow and see what's in there. See, there's the flea beetles ate a bunch of holes. There's another one and another one. So I've got some parsley and some oregano. I've got a morning glory, which I am hoping, will bloom. The citrus tree that I've had forever. A couple of random things, like I've got some rhubarb. I dug up some shoots of rhubarb. There's 2 peach trees that were growing in the compost. Got some pepper plants. There's a sage and a basil. Sometimes I have extras and I just throw them in these pots. And then I'm still selling some at market. So I've always got potted plants kind of coming in and out. My mother's strawberries are starting to send out some shoots. So I catch them in pots and then let them get established. And that's how I get some new baby plants. You see this eggplant eaten up with flea beetles. You can see the flea beetles actually crawling around there. Yep, I have to spray it with this organic spray. They're terrible here. But once it gets kind of past that stage, then they'll start producing. All right, let's turn around here. My spearmint has gone to seed, flower anyway. And the little pollinators are loving it. And sometimes I see my bees flying around over here. I don't think they like spearmint, but they have been on the oregano. I've got these random sunflowers growing that are actually very beautiful. Like, I think it's a cross, and oh, there's a bumblebee on there right now. They're just beautiful. My perennial flower bed here is looking very pitiful. Last year I had a soaker hose over here and it was connected to my rain barrel, but it dry rotted and I had to throw it away. I haven't replaced it. So it is so hot and dry over here that the things are not doing super great. I had daisies that were this tall, but they fell over. That's the swamp hibiscus. It's doing fine. The coneflowers also fell over, but there's some new ones coming up. Here's a really pretty one. This garden is about gone to grass. Well, it has. I've got a few sweet peas, but most of the vines are dying. It's just so hot. I have harvested quite a few off of there. There's a really nice one. I'll pick it right now. Yeah, look it. I need to come pick these. Ooh, that's a good one. I'm just going to eat that. And there's a good one. Ooh, look at that. And then you can see down here, these are dying. There were a couple of different varieties planted. Some did better than others, but for the most part, the rabbits and the deer just freely walked up here and ate them. I've got a row of carrots, and they're just planted so densely that I don't know if they're going to do anything. I did have radishes planted with them, and I harvested all the radishes, but it just still didn't give them enough room. This is one lettuce bed, lettuce and grass, but they've all started bolting. But I have harvested a lot of lettuce and sold a lot of lettuce. Look at all this grass. It's just all grass. I have to weed eat it now or mow it with a lawnmower. Swiss chard, harvesting all the time. I dug up about 3 to move them because I'm going to let the chickens in this area in the next couple of weeks. I got a row of beets and grass. Grass. This has been a bad grassy year for me. Some romaine lettuce that is bolting. I leave little strips of clover for my bees. Another row of carrots. Same thing. If it doesn't produce in the next couple of weeks, then the chickens are just going to come in here and eat it up. Chicory. This is all chicory. It's from the lettuce that overwintered last year. This bed of lettuce has all bolted. I mean, it's pretty, and I harvested a lot, and I'm just leaving it, and the chickens can eat it. I dug 1 row of potatoes here. I've got another row to go here, and then I've got a row of onions. Some of them are like looking really big and beautiful. Like, can you see that monster? It's huge. And in the same row, I've got a couple of parsleys, which I now regret planting here because the chickens are going to eat them, and a dill. Same thing. A row of potatoes that is also ready to be dug. Another row of potatoes that is ready to be dug. Oh, and a random tomato plant. And then this row was potatoes, and I tried something new. I just cut the tops off. This is what commercial farmers I have read they do. They cut the tops off, leave the potatoes in the soil for at a minimum 9 days. So it's been about that. I'm going to dig this row this week, and I'll let you know how they do. Beautiful flowers. Got garden balsam. They're also called touch-me-nots. I've got the amaranth, the love lies bleeding, and there is a Japanese beetle. You see it? Yep, they eat everything. My daughter comes out in the morning with a cup of water when it's too cool for them to fly, and she taps the Japanese beetles into the water and then gives them to her chickens. The zinnias are pretty. You see my shadow everywhere. Lots of zinnias. They haven't really taken off yet, but by next month they will, at least I anticipate. The daisies are already starting to dry up and go to seed. We'll save those. Cleome, spider flower it's called. And that's about it. All right, the coal yard. Go over here. I harvested the first row, which you will see in just a moment. It was garlic. So the garlic is in the barn drying, and I planted a couple of peppers and then some herbs. Got a few basils and dills. This is an old heirloom cabbage. They get really big, so we'll see how they do. Brussels. Everything is fainting right now because the sun is so hot. Kale. Kale is looking absolutely beautiful. I've been harvesting weekly. Made some kale chips. I sell kale at farmer's market. I planted a pumpkin in this pot, or some kind of squash. Honestly, I don't remember what kind it was. Broccoli. So I've cut all the main heads off the broccolis. So let's see. Once you cut the main head, then these little side shoots start appearing everywhere. And I come out basically and harvest every day. And I'll get a couple of pounds of these a week. It doesn't seem like much because I just harvested yesterday, but you see they pop up and they'll do that all summer long. And the broccoli side shoots are very tender. They taste just like broccoli, and because it's an heirloom variety, it's very delicious. So here's what's left of my cabbages. I've harvested most of these little baby cabbages. There's still a couple of them left, but I'm going to be pulling the rest of those this week. And then I will till that row and plant maybe a row of basil. That's what I need more than anything. This is another row of garlic, and it still needs to die back a little bit more. This was cauliflower. It's all gone. I just planted green beans here. This is pumpkin. There's a green one looking beautiful, and the rest of it is so grassy. I can't tell if there's any fruit in there or not. That's where my turnips were, and I pulled those and saved the seeds, tilled, and planted a few squash or pumpkin. These are 2 rows of broccoli, same thing. They're just producing side shoots. Now I know I'm looking toward the sun, and the fence there, not sure if you can see, but there's running green beans. They're called rattlesnake. Oops, I dropped my pea. I saw one yesterday. There's a little baby one, and you can see it's kind of striped, but there was a bigger one. Let me look. Here's some bigger ones. They're just starting to get their stripes. Look at that. That's so pretty. I'm not going to walk down there and look at every single one of them, but there are some that are ready to be picked. Oh, there's one. Isn't that beautiful? Rattlesnake green beans. And of course they'll turn green when they cook. So I have a row of beets. That looks pretty good actually, although it's mostly taken over by grass. But some of those are probably already ready to harvest. Got a pitiful little row of green beans, but it is making a lot. I've been picking every day. Another row of green beans. And here is a black beauty eggplant. And then, oh, this is the Listata Gandia. That one will produce a fruit soon. And then this teeny tiny one here is called Pick Me Quick, and I actually just picked one off of it today. It's got some blooms. You can see where the flea beetles are eating it up. And then this one's called New York Improved. The reason that I have these 4 here is because I'm participating in a trial. So obviously the Black Beauty is doing the best, seconded by the Listata. And then these 2 are just small, but this one actually produced the first fruit. Might have done that because it was stressed, but I don't know. Peppers, I think these are sweet. Jimmy Nardellos, they'll turn red. Can you see that? My hand's in the way. This is jalapeno. There's some on there. Be ready to pick soon. There's some beautiful green bells. These are the ones that turn brown. They're chocolate bells. Then here is, these were supposed to be cayenne, I think. But I believe that this is obviously cayenne, but these are giant. So that obviously crossed with something, or either I got the seeds mixed up. And then this is the little buckshot pepper. They turn bright red and they're fiery hot. And then I have my tomatoes, which that one's loaded with some big fruit. Several fruits. And my friend and I, she brought me a bunch of boxes. The weeds were just taking over out here and the fruit was touching the ground. So we just put cardboard in between everything. So I've got tomatoes all the way down. And over here my first cherries are ripe. You see those back there? Need to go ahead and pick those. So now I'm starting to really sweat. Tomatoes, tomatoes, and lots of weeds. This weed right here is called quickweed, and it just pops up overnight, and you can see it has just taken over that tomato. I have been really working hard at keeping the weeding done, but the garden is just so big that it is just about all I can do. Let me back up here and show you all these Romas. You see they're just loaded down. Look right down here. Lots of Roma tomatoes, so that's good. Also some more running beans over here. This is Alabama black eye. They're very sparse. The seeds were really old. The grass has tried to take over them. But if I get a few seeds, that'll be nice. I'm just trying to save the seeds. This is a celery. It really should not have bolted and gone to seed. But I think it was so hot that it was stressed. The celery over here is looking really good, and it is the different kind, Utah maybe. I've got a couple of cantaloupes. I killed one accidentally yesterday. I was weeding and I just chopped it right down. Hate when that happens. So this is yellow squash. It stopped producing because the temperatures were like nearly 100 here, which is crazy. But it's cooled off a wee bit. And there's one, and see there's like a rotten one down here. This is what was happening. And I think it was just they didn't get pollinated. And then, so anyway, they appear to be like ready to start producing again. There's a beautiful one. It'll be ready tomorrow. I've got a zucchini here. This one I had to replant, and so there's a little baby there. You see that? I'm really struggling with the glare on the screen. I planted a new one to replace another dead one, and then one here. And it's got a little fruit on it that did not get pollinated. You can tell it's just going to fall off. So my strawberries have been completely inundated with grass. They're not producing anymore anyway, but they might produce a second crop if I can unbury them. But they're very thick. But then I've got chamomile, and it has also taken over, so that's a nice thing. And there is some dill that survived the weeds, and then this is cilantro, and it's already gone to seed, so it'll have to be coriander. There's some more. It is absolutely beautiful. The chickens are all in the coop, except for that one he gets beat up all the time, but it is so hot, they don't want to be out here. But this field right here, that's the chicken run. We've got the fencing now. We are going to fence in that portion over there where we were. And then I'm going to plow this and plant watermelons, cantaloupes, more green beans for a friend of mine. And in here is my first blueberry plants, but they're like buried in grass. Okay, there's one. You can't even see it for the grass. 2, you can at least see it. 3, the grass is like 12 inches tall. And 4, in big weeds. So I had to fence it in to keep the chickens out of it, but it also keeps me out of it. Here is a spaghetti squash back here that I planted, and it's got like 2, 3 big nice fruits on it. So I'll at least get a couple of spaghetti squash. There's an amaranth that made its way over here somehow, and a volunteer tomato. The asparagus, it's looking good. The raspberries we're picking regularly. Like here's one that is ripe. I'm just going to pop that off of there and eat it. new canes for next year. Look at that. You see that beautiful cluster? And that beautiful cluster. I have to eat this one. It is just too beautiful. So it's actually ending the black raspberry. I probably called it black raspberry season. Some of the vines are even dying back. But the wild blackberries in the woods are starting to produce now. So we just come out and pick like every other day and freeze them. Here's a pretty cluster. I need to get the girls to come out and pick. So even though we are inundated with grass, we do have a lot of produce coming on. I open the gate and close the gate. We've had some serious predator issues. The chickens have been broken into 3 times. We've lost 6 or 7 birds. This is a little muscadine grape that I grew from seed. Kept thinking the deer were going to eat it, but they haven't yet. This back here is birdhouse gourd. They're doing great and the deer don't bother them. And then I've got a couple of loofah gourds and they're struggling. And that one's doing okay. But I really hope they grow because I'd like to have some loofahs to make and sell. I've got a little patch of pollinator flowers here. Not sure, hope you can see those. They're pretty. Bachelor's buttons are in there and like coreopsis. And this is what I call my bee yard in my orchard. And I have been cutting hay with a scythe. I'll probably film a scything video, just a really short one. Number one, I like to see myself scythe to make sure that I'm doing it properly. I have fallen in love with scything and I'm making hay to bring into the pole barn up there because I'm going to get goats first and they can eat this hay. Here's my bees. This hive right here is my swarm that I caught. It's very active, lots of coming and going. And this box up here is an empty box with just a feeder. The feeder is empty. It's for rainy days. We had 5 or 6 rainy days in a row. Same over here. This is an empty box. But this one swarmed, and then I have been without a queen. So I actually had to go into that box and steal a frame that had eggs in it and bring over here so they could make a queen. So if it's successful, in 3 more weeks I should have a new queen and start seeing eggs in there again. For right now they're still pretty strong, but if they don't make a queen they'll just all die out, which is really sad. This is the hive I paid $200 for. That one free. I shouldn't say hive, I should say colony. Anyway, my orchard, you can see maybe. I'm not going to go in there. The electric fence is definitely on. So there's 3 blueberry bushes here, which you can now see because the grass has been cut. 1, 2, 3. And then I've got apples and pears and plums. Got a elderberry, peach tree, 3 more blueberries down here. Oh, and here's a little patch of wildflowers that I sowed up here, which is so pretty. You can probably see this better now that we're in the shade. Yeah. So you can see where the grass is really high here. This is where I stopped scything last night. And then I have that whole field over there to do. And honestly, ideally, I have all of that. But my husband, he cut it with our lawnmower on its highest setting. So we have probably about 3 to 3.5 acres of pasture. Over that hill is the pond, and beyond the pond to the tree line. So it's too hot for me to walk all the way up there today. I'm enjoying standing in the shade right now. All right, well, that's been 25 minutes, and that is a long time. So I am gonna go sit down and do an outro, and hope that you'll come back and see me next month as we're walking this way. This is my row of marigolds and sunflowers, and some of the sunflowers may actually live. See, the marigolds are going to be blooming next time, and even the sunflowers that got bitten, it looks like that they are making new heads. So that'll probably be really, really pretty next month. Of course, you see behind it nothing but weeds, but I can just take my electric weed eater and run back there. The cherry tree, the cherries, the birds ate them all. Like, I think I got one cherry. And the weather here has been just terrible. There's our broiler pen for our meat birds. That was the first place we had a predator attack, so it killed like 6 or 7 birds. So we didn't want to put any. And here we are back around at the barn. I said I was going to go, but I'm still talking. Walkie-talkie. Look at that sunflower is all the way up to the roof. A fig tree that is doing really well, and then I got some baby asparagus there. And here is my garlic drying. Nice harvest there. And oh, I guess I'll show you my scythe while we're in here. I keep it over here. One of these days I'm going to finish my barn. This is a refrigerator shelf I have to take out, but there it is. I've got the blade guard on it. It's a dandy. Oh my, I'm loving it. I know you can't really tell much about it, but it is awesome. And then I had to buy a sheath and whetstone to sharpen it, and I have been using it quite a bit. All right, now I'm gonna go grab my water and sit down. So my water is not just water, not this time of year. I add a 1/4 teaspoon of sea salt, 2 tablespoons of whey, and if you don't have whey, you can, when you buy plain yogurt, and you know you scoop your yogurt out, that hole always fills in with that clear liquid. That's whey. You can use that. It's really good for you. And mineral drops, concentrated mineral drops, for 20 drops per 8 ounces of water, a lemon squeezed, and a teaspoon of our maple syrup from our trees, just to sweeten it a little bit. It's kind of like Gatorade, except natural and better for you. And I've been trying to drink a lot. So that's it for this month's collaboration. Hope you enjoyed it. I look forward to watching all of your videos. By the way, this is hosted by Victoria at Home Educating the Mad Lads and Maria at the Richardson Simple Living. And every now and then there's others that participate in it, so just check out the description in those other videos. They will link you to the other people who are participating. I do hope to put out a scything video in the next week or two. And then I'll see you at the end of July for the gardening collaboration. Here in USA, we celebrate the 4th of July, Independence Day. That's this Friday, and we're having company and fireworks and things like that. So those of you from USA who are watching, you know, happy 4th. Be safe, have a great time, and I'll see you next month. Bye.